Welcome, everybody, to the Jive Sports Football Podcast. I am your host, Brandon, and I'm here. It appears not, this is news to me, not with my dear friend and co host, Zach, but some sort of masked luchador in the flesh. Could you please introduce yourself, my new masked friend?
My name, you can call me Captain Pastrami, master
Could
of
we?
the mustard lock.
Could we, Pastrami, Mr. Pastrami, could we perhaps get
Captain
an.
Pastrami to you,
I did not know
you
we.
little moon calf.
Hang on a
I'm
minute,
Zach's older, smarter, stronger brother. I had to send him
faster.
on a little vacation because he's been dropping the damn ball. I'm here to pick it up and run with it. He's been letting his heart get a little bit too involved in his decision making.
So our friend Zach, he's is he dead and gone or just on a slight out of town hiatus? And Captain Pastrami is here in order to
He'll be
set things
around, but he's
straight.
not here today.
Is this some sort of you're Captain Pastrami? I don't know. I assume if it runs in the family, if it runs in the blood, your little brother Zach's a big wrestling guy. And is this a heel arc? Is this what is this that we're experiencing right
This is a bunch of unnecessary jibber jabber. Let's get down to business.
now? You heard it here first, folks. I'm Brandon. I'm here with my new co-host, Captain Pastrami. That is an insane mask for the audio listeners. This gentleman has on it's actually a New York Giants wrestling mask, is it not?
What, you can't read?
Okay. Settle down now. Settle
What's
down
that
now.
look like to you, pal?
It looks like a New York Giants logo on the ears, my friend. Rather dashing
Well,
indeed.
well, snap out of it, bud.
You can't even. I can't. People. Do people take wrestling seriously? Are we gonna start off on this foot?
What's this deal about wrestling that you're stuck on, dude? I came here to talk football.
And he has a southern drawl for some reason. We're going to be going over the NFL Week 2 at large, reviewing every single game here, going over wins, losses, fun little tidbits. And I know my friend Captain Pastrami, he seems supercharged with some sort of opinions today. What do you say, Captain P? Do we P-bone? Do we just get right into it?
I'm waiting on you.
Let's go with Commanders Packers Thursday Night Football. We recorded an episode right there in the morning before it happened, and we got to see the Green Bay Packers. It ended 27-18 in favor of the Packers, but I don't think it was that close. Captain Pastrami, were you fortunate enough to be able to put your eyeballs on this game?
Yeah, it was. There's some garbage time points in there. It wasn't that close.
For the Commanders, right?
Correct.
How are we feeling about the Green Bay Packers? How are we feeling that you and I both took them, I think, to go pretty far, right? I think they were even my pick in order to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. How are you feeling about it?
Well, I I don't want to keep using this excuse, but it's still early. Um, they beat the hell out of the Lions, and the Lions rebounded pretty strong. Um, I'm unsure about the Commanders, honestly. They beat the Giants, but we're gonna get to them because they're back. If those
We will get into
Commanders were
that.
playing these Giants, they wouldn't have won. But I don't know. The Washington, uh, I don't know. It's hard for me to even tell because it's so early, but the Packers defense is much better than I expected it to be. Um, Micah Parsons is obviously getting settled in, getting in the groove.
Making an
The
impact.
Packers offense, I love a team that can run the ball and play defense, but they're still lacking some kind of outside threat. Tucker Kraft seems to be the main target there, and if you had him on a TD parlay or on your fantasy team, you're pretty happy with him. Overall, it was a game that an outcome we expected. You even said it wouldn't be particularly close,
Yep.
were your exact words, because I did my homework on you because we've never met. But what do you
We
think?
have never met. It's weird because it's like I'm trying not to overreact in either direction, right? It's really tough because it's still litmus test. It's still week 2, and like when it comes to like the Packers, right? The Packers had their way with the Lions, and then the Lions happen to have their way with the Bears, right? And it's like, are the Packers this good? Are the Bears this bad? Like, it's kind of hard in order to get a, kind of a read on it. Same with the Commanders, right? And the Commanders they did beat your Giants. However, this next game that we're going to talk about, I'm very, very excited to get into depth with about you.
Well,
So
we
again,
also
it's really,
had some injury news in that game too, because it sounds like Jaden Daniels might be dealing with something, and then Eckler's going to be gone for the year. Probably might be the end of his career.
yes. So Eckler had the non-contact injury on the Achilles, and it came out that he did indeed tear his Achilles, and it could probably be a career ender for fantasy football. A god, like a real one, right? And
Because of
as
his
well,
age and whatever,
yeah, it's going to
and
be very, very
position.
hard. Yeah, 100%. And then Jane Daniels did indeed tweak himself as well. I think maybe it was a knee tweak that he had going on. Again, questions about his wire reframe or whatnot, but it did start some things that we'll get into is that NFL Week 2. I mean, it's like Thanos snapped like half of the starting quarterbacks. Like a lot of starting quarterbacks have injuries either pop up or after the game came up, and we'll get into that as well. So, still, Packers they're proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with in the NFC. So that's all we have out there.
2-0.
2-0, baby, 2-0.
And two pretty dominant performances, because
I would
like you
say.
said, the Commanders may have scored at garbage time late TD, but for the most of that game it was like a 2 or 3 score lead.
Yeah, the Packers are winning and winning decisively. So again, feeling pretty good about them early season, but let's get into this next game. So I just googled NFL Week 2 and we're just going down. So we're just ad libbing this whole thing, and as we go, we're gonna get excited and we're gonna get into it, and we're gonna maybe not have too much in depth stuff to talk about other games. But the first week we had 2 game of the years, like incredible, and this game I was not expecting to be as electric as it was, but it is the New York Giants against the Dallas Cowboys.
The
The New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. Before I hand the baton over to my new friend Captain Pastrami, that if I was a gambling man, I would say is a New York Giants fan. The Cowboys edged out the New York Giants in
Nothing
overtime.
gets past you.
Nothing gets past me. The Cowboys defeated the Giants 40-37. I have a lot of thoughts on this game, but I really want to.
No, I want to hear yours first.
You want to hear mine first before you
Yes.
fire back? Actually, okay, let's do that.
Let's hear what you got wrong.
Let's hear what I got wrong. So, this was a really, really fun game to watch. I don't know if prime Russell Wilson is back, but I even think I talked about this in week 1. The series of events that led to this game coming down into overtime, it was absolutely prime Russell Wilson. It was moon balls, I think 2 or 3 to Malik Neighbors. One was a touchdown that within the last minute with like 40 some seconds left in order to put you guys up on top, right? It actually put him up on top by 3. He looked really, really good entering the end stretch of the game. I was only watching on Red Zone, and then as soon as it was coming down and it was pushing into that 4 o'clock window, I watched, and I'm like, he was looking pretty good. I did not watch every snap, so I could be very wrong on that. Malik Neighbors still proves himself to be him, right? And then also, the Giants' defense let up a few big plays. The Giants' defense let up a few big plays in order to let Dak Prescott and the Cowboys get into field goal range. With Brandon Aubrey is as close to a cheat code as you can get. I mean, you don't need many yards in order to get this guy. So Brandon Aubrey, I think, nails a 64-yarder in order to send it in overtime, but I think that kick would have been good from 70. He's absolutely a cheat code. And then I do know that So Cowboys started with the ball in overtime and failed to drive. Giants got it, and then Russell Wilson did his thing, and he happened to throw an errant moon ball into a very, very easy interception in order to give the Cowboys the ball back, right? And then, again, they only had to get a first down or so in order to put Brandon Aubrey into field goal position. I don't know how I feel about it. The Giants are better than I thought they were. The Giants are better than they thought they were. They held with the Cowboys. There was a few times, if it was not for that turnover, should have won, right? But also the Cowboys' offense is still potent. Their defense is, this was a game of no defense, right? This was a game of no defense. It was a very very fun watch for everybody at home. I was rooting for the Giants actually, they're both fun scrappy teams. They're both fun scrappy teams. How do you feel?
Like you don't know what you're talking about.
Then please enlighten me. Enlighten me.
The New York Giants whooped the Cowboys' ass up and down that field for 60 minutes, and the refs kept them in there. The old Zebras doing their thing. I think the Giants had 12 or 14 penalties for 160 yards. On the first drive alone, Russell Wilson had 300 yards passing. Okay? 300 yards on the first drive. But here's the deal. Fantastic game. I had about 3 heart attacks and 2 strokes and triple bypass surgery and ambulance on standby. I'm wondering where that's been because they it seemed like they opened up the playbook and things were working. And they've been playing conservative or something for however long. Wandale Robinson put some respect on his name because he was just as effective as Neighbors was. Theo Johnson had a couple big catches in there. Cam Scadabo's growing on me as a guy I wasn't really that high on. I wish we took Torrey Horton in that spot,
There's a
but
Torrey Horton sighting.
Cam is growing on me. The offensive line was okay. I'm still really excited about our defense. I do think that there was some bad timing with penalties and things like that. But the big thing about this was I always with the Eagles and the Cowboys, this there's a lot of bad history there because you might remember this, but when your Jake Elliott was a rookie, they played in Philly, and a similar situation happened where Giants take a late lead, I think it was a late lead, punt have to punt to the Eagles, and the Eagles do this miraculous fucking pass where they're able to get out of bounds with 1 second on the clock, and Jake Elliott, as a rookie, kicks a 61-yarder walk off
I don't think
field
I
goal.
do remember that, so I'm glad that you can still
Well,
harbor that.
I remember all these things because they stick with you when you deal with them. So here's what's different was I'm already celebrating. Okay, I was counting my chickens, and I was telling Ashley, I'm like, the Giants are gonna fucking win this game, and she's all like excited for me because she knows they haven't been that good. And the strangest fucking thing happened. The Cowboys did this shit where they were like, if you watch a lot of football, you know that if a team is getting ready to do their little chip shot to win the game, they'll do one last play, but they'll pick which hash they want to kick from. So they'll just move left or right a little bit, take a
Hmm.
knee, timeout, send the kicker on whichever hash he's more comfortable with. The Cowboys did that, but they did it at the 50-yard line. They weren't even trying to get more yards.
Nope.
And this fucking guy comes out there, and there was not a single doubt from anybody on that Cowboys sideline that he wasn't going to make that. And I said, I think he's going to miss the 64 yards pressure. We got to get one here. Finally things are going our way. Offense opened up. Everything's looking good. Oh, there was also a rare thing that happened was on a drive to potentially win the game on defense, we got a sack, and I was like, I haven't seen a sack in this situation in years. So I'm thinking that's it. Next.
Put it up.
Uh and he nails a 64-yard field goal that I think would have been good from 80. He kicked it from fucking I don't know, Mississippi.
Insane.
And there was no fucking nothing about it. And then overtime happens, and what you missed was they go back and forth with possessions, but Russell Wilson's having this amazing uh fucking game that makes you think that it's 2013 again or
Turn back the
whatever,
clock.
and everything's looking phenomenal. And he does this weird shit where he like tries to go for a pass, but he changes his mind last second and it slips out of his hands and goes backwards. So it was a fumble that eventually was pushed out of bounds, but it cost us like, I don't know, 7, 8 yards, and we had to punt.
Hmm.
And this is where shit got a little annoying for me because I don't know if by this time they had switched over from the Lions game to make the Giants Cowboys the whatever Fox
Hmm.
broadcast,
Yep.
and they start telling this story about Brandon Aubrey's wife. Did you happen to hear that?
I did not hear the story of Brandon Aubrey's wife.
So Brandon Aubrey is a former soccer player, and because he was being switched from like a striker position to center back, he kind of fell in love up with the game, kind of washed out quickly, they said, and he's at home and he's doing like like some type of software engineering or some shit. And they're watching a football game and they watch some kicker miss, and Mrs. Aubrey is like, "You could do that." And that's what planted the little nugget in his head to go to a football field the next day or whatever and start practicing kicking field goals. And because of that
You're
woman,
giant.
it's not just me, you got to deal with them too. But, I don't want to. There's some jokes I wanted to tell about women and talking, but we're not trying to get canceled here. I just wish that she would think about others because it kind of felt like, to lift them up, she had to put other people down because now I had to deal with that. And so does everybody else because she couldn't just be like, oh, well, it's, you got a great job doing software engineering, Brandon, everything will work out. No, how about you go try practicing kicking field goals? I think you can do that. And now ruin my fucking Sunday.
She could not leave well enough alone. It is absolutely. She's like, hey, just go ahead and try that. Now you get to terrorize the
It's like
NFL.
the butterfly effect type thing.
It's insane. So there's an old like theoretical hypothetical question, right? There's a hypothetical question, and it used to be fun to like banter about, right? But now it's becoming real. Like if there was a prospect in the NFL draft and said, "Hey, this guy is good from 70 yards every single time." How high is he worth in the NFL draft? How high of a pick? If they're like, hey, just so you know, every single time he's going to make it from 70 yards. I mean, there's a debate that he should be taken very, very high in the draft. But it used to be fun, hypothetical, like you have a few beers and you're bouncing off your buddies. That man exists now, and his name's Brandon Aubrey. Like,
Well, a lot of
it's
kickers
insane.
are doing that.
It's insane, and it's become increasingly more common. Like before, like I remember, like Zach or Captain Pastrami, when you and I were growing up, is like they would tune to other channels, be like, "This guy's about to attempt like a 60-yarder, like holy cow!" Like the entire nation tune in, and now Brandon Aubrey's doing it with legs. Like the Cowboys have to get a first down and a half in order to be in contention to maybe get 3 points.
I don't know if you saw it, but after the game, the Cowboys are walking through the tunnel. I don't know who said it, but it was a Cowboy teammate. He goes, what do you say? He's like, I didn't know you were like that. Now all we gotta do is get to the 50 and we good.
Insane, dude. Insane. What happened in the game we
Fucking
love?
we gotta nerf kicking because here's the deal. You ever watch like a or see like an old photo of a 1945 or whatever game, and the field goal post is like in the front of the end zone?
Yes, like college football's that way, right? I
Do you,
think, right?
no,
Canadian football, CFL, right?
I'm not sure. I don't watch that shit. But you know why
So
they did that? Why they had it in the front?
I don't.
Teams weren't scoring, and they wanted to make the field goal kicking easier. But these these geniuses never considered that having this metal pole like in the middle of the fucking end zone could potentially be a hazard to anybody running around there. But because field goal kicking became easier, people started playing for field goals and not touchdowns, and that's when they decided to move it back. So I think we need to nerf kicking and make it like move it back or like use a different ball that's full of like Brandon Aubrey's wife's blood.
We need to turn down some sliders. What's the
I'm kidding, guys. It's funny. I love a woman that can support her husband and vice versa. If it wasn't for her, this guy'd be fucking miserable. But he's a superstar. So good for them.
what's what's the answer here? Do we move them back or do we make them narrow?
That's a good question. but something's got to happen because this is stupid.
Maybe we introduce a little basketball. Maybe we put on like a moving conveyor and it just like shifts like a carnival game.
We'll figure it out.
There's some sauce there, but I'm sorry,
Anyways, the
Zach.
Giants are back,
The Giants are back
and
comfortably.
and if we didn't have, I know, 160 yards and penalties there, we win that game.
A lot from one player, right?
Yeah,
In the first drive, four penalties in the first drive for your offensive lineman.
for one guy. Yeah,
It's hard to win a game like that. It's hard to win a game. But the Giants are back. They're fun. They're scrappy. They give you hope, right, Zach? Captain Pastrami? They give you hope.
strike. That's strike two, bud.
That's strike two. Speaking of strikes, let's segue into the next game. Speaking of a team that happens to be so back with the Giants, let's go to maybe a team that isn't so much. We have the Seahawks beating the Aaron Rodgers Steelers 31-17. Did you happen to get too much on this game? Did you happen to look at it too much?
I was watching some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not gonna lie and say it's impossible for us to be able to watch the majority of all these games that are happening at the same time. But you
right,
catch
right,
little
right.
bits and pieces of them.
So here's my takeaways from this, right? And my takeaways are mostly on the Steelers. It was always the old adage, I feel like, since the beginning of time is like the Steelers defense will always keep them in the playoff hunt, right? And they just need at least adequate offensive play. And I feel like the Steelers defense isn't as good as it should be, or as good as we think it is. And Aaron Rodgers maybe is not exactly the problem right now. Like Aaron Rodgers is still playing at a decent level, and he had, I don't know if you saw the absolutely insane pass that he had, but he had an insane, like he like rolled out to like to his right, and this 41, 42-year-old man, like 2 years removed from an Achilles rupture, is rolling out to his right, and
Well, let's just kiss his ass and rub his back and get a hot
I
bath ready for him.
I will, my friend,
Foot
because
massage.
he's
Oh, Aaron,
running.
you're so cool, Aaron. You're great. You came back from an Achilles.
On the move, he flicks this thing, and it goes about 50 air yards, and it hits Pat Fryermuth in the hands, and he just happens to drop it or not be able to come down with it. But I'm like, this guy still has the sauce. So the takeaways are Aaron Rodgers still has the sauce. I still say don't count him out. However, be concerned about the Steelers defense because they allowed the Seahawks to put up 31 on them. JSN is silky smooth, and he's a really, really good player. If anybody I doubt he's on any sort of waiver, if anybody playing any sort of redraft league, but target JSN in Dynasty and whatnot because he's emerging as a really, really good player.
And you know what's crazy is I know there's a little bit of jest inside the group chats and stuff, but when I traded Brian Thomas Jr. For JSN and a pick, I was called crazy, and I said JSN's the real deal. I think Brian Thomas is the product of circumstance because the Jag. We'll get into Jags, but
We're gonna get into the
last year
Jags.
Evan Ingram got hurt. There was no Gabe Davis. Etienne was lingering problems all year, and Doug Peterson was fighting for his job. So they force fed Brian Thomas all those passes because he was the only thing you could do. Uh, and that was my concern. That's the argument I made, but I was told I got fleeced, and because Brian Thomas is phenomenal, right? And he had such a great rookie year. He did have a great rookie year, but context matters.
If we wanted a too early overreaction, if we're saying take the pick out of it, but Brian Thomas Jr. for JSN, you got JSN, gave away Brian Thomas, you won that trade so far, and
And
we're gonna get into.
I got a I think a first round pick
That's insane. That's a haul for you. That's a haul for you.
because I think I gave Rashad White and whatever because Alec got some running back trouble.
Some running back trouble. So now we're gonna segue right now. So no too strong takeaways from that. That's Seahawks Steelers. Let's go into the Rams.
Oh, well, hold on. You're talking about sauce. Are you forgetting somebody?
I don't think I am. I thinking of, am I? Did I forget somebody?
Dick Hammer. We can't do the show if we're gonna fucking disrespect Dick Hammer's grandson. I can't tolerate it.
You're still Sam Darnold believer?
Dick Hammer's grandson.
we don't refer to him by his God-given name. He's now Dick Hammer's grandson. I don't even know if he had that good of a game.
Did he win on the road across the country?
He did. Dick Hammer's grandson
And we
did
both
indeed.
took the Steelers, and that's what I get for going against Dick Hammer's grandson. He was 22 or 33 for 295, two TDs and two interceptions. So we can't have that.
We're not hanging no
I was only
banners.
looking around because you said Aaron Rodgers looked good. He had 203, one TD, and two ints.
So okay, so I'm. You're right. I don't deserve flowers in that aspect because I jumped right to Aaron. Dick Hammer's grandson is just forgettable, and until he blows me away with a stat line.
How can that? How can that? What do you mean he was like a fucking MVP candidate last year? But what I want to know about the
That's
Steelers is where the hell is Caleb Johnson? Did he get
where
hurt?
the
Because
hell
he had one touch.
they I don't quite know what the consensus around the league is and there's a few other people that we'll get into, right? The
That he's a
consensus around
bitch or what? Because I was really high on him.
I feel like the NFL right now is hesitant on these rookie running backs or even a second year running back, and it's all about pass protection, right? And Jalen Warren is a year or two in the league, and I feel like rookies struggle with pass protection in the NFL, right? They're dealing with a different level of competition. It's a whole different skill set that they have to work on, just as opposed to running downfield, right? And I think maybe that is why they're hesitant on getting Caleb Johnson out there right now. I'm a Caleb Johnson believer as well. We've not seen him too much. Put him on a milk carton. We're missing this guy because I really want him to come out and do something, but I don't know where he is.
Okay, now you can proceed.
Let's proceed to the Rams and the Cam Ward Titans. All right. All I have to say about this game, again, I did not watch too much of it. However, Stafford is still doing Stafford things. I saw a few of his throws. There was a lot. I was really hesitant on him coming into the season, considering he needed a procedure that most pregnant women get that numb the bottom half of your body, and he needed that just to throw a ball in training camp. But he's still going to go out, and he's still going to be exciting, and he's still going to win games. He's also like the best quarterback that's like irrelevant in fantasy. Like he can have like he always goes out and he always balls out, and I feel like he always comes with like 14 to 16 fantasy points. I'm not quite sure why. He's pretty forgettable in that aspect, but I'm a Matt Stafford apologist and a believer, and he's still fun to watch.
Padford?
Stat Padford. Devontae Adams is getting comfortable in the offense. Matt Stafford had an insane throw. He like sidearmed it across like two defenders, and like he hit him like in the hands as he's diving to the ground. Put it only where he could catch it. That's super fun. Puka's still super fun. Rams won. The Rams are fun, man. The Rams are fun again. The Rams are fun.
I like the Rams. So one of my preseason kind of predictions about Matt Stafford retiring in 2 months probably not coming true.
Probably not coming true. The cash out's pretty low on that.
I think this is one of those situations where when you're a veteran, you can kind of play the game where, I think maybe I should show up, like 2 weeks before the season. I'm over doing training camp and all that shit. I know what I'm doing, so let's quit fucking around. But you still do like to have them there so the receivers and everybody can get on the same page and get their timing down. My boy Cam Ward made a couple plays.
He did.
That very impressive. Wait till he gets some shit to work with, because right now, when your best receiver is like a 31-year-old Calvin Ridley, that's not fun. But he is going to be great.
I do think he's going to be. There was that. So there's another, and I'm going to get beat to death in the Tennessee community about this right now because I saw this play and I was like, hey, I have this player. But there's a rookie or a second year receiver. The name is a bit more. It's a bit extravagant. I can't even pull out of a hat, but he had an amazing out of structure play to where I actually think so who is it PFF, Pro Football Focus and whatnot. So he scrambled out, and I don't know if he scrambled or it was he rolled out to the right, but it was a crossbody. It was a crossbody across the field, touchdown throw. But PFF,
A.O. Manor or whatever, he's a rookie.
Yes, that guy right there, right? And I think PFF said it traveled the most like horizontal yards for touchdowns since they started tracking it back in like 2015. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
that's
a fucking insane pass that you're never told to do, and it
no,
looked perfect.
it looked perfect. That you want to talk about sauce? Cam Ward might have it.
That's what everybody who throws across their body thinks it's gonna look like, but never does. His does.
His does. That. It's hard to teach that. Like again, like I love that. Like everybody who does the crossbody, like that's what it's going to look like. But it tends to lose a little bit of pizzazz at the end, and then it flutters, and then it gets picked off. Like no, he put it exactly where his guy could get it. Super encouraging, super exciting. Titans not off to the start that they want, but there's a lot to be excited about in the future, right? Let's move on to the next. Let's go to the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Do you want to head us off on this one, my friend?
Yeah, you said that the Jets' offense was awesome, and they're gonna run all over the place and keep it close. You were toying with the idea of taking like Jets and points, and I wish you would have. That'd make this a lot more interesting because they are who I thought they were, and Justin Fields is who I thought he was, and they're going to get better now because if Fields is going to be out next week because he is concussed, Tyrod is a guy I actually like. So if you're a Garrett Wilson fantasy owner, a Brees Hall, he's not going to have his touchdown stolen from him. Was it Mason Taylor? If he's getting any PT,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he's up for TD parlay. They're gonna look better with Tyrod, and that's because Justin Fields is not a quarterback.
I'm gonna have to give you your flowers on this one. He did look pretty bad. I still want Justin Fields to pan out. He is concussed. He did happen to leave. There was a crazy stat, but he performed really really poorly. He
Yeah, he was like
performed
2 for 11 or something, and uh, I think
yes.
was I don't know eating his boogers or something on the sideline. He was just complete. Look. I don't wish anybody ill. I'm just giving my opinions, and I've watched enough Justin Fields at this point, 5 years or whatever we are in his career, to know he's not a good quarterback. So he was 3 of 11 for 27 yards.
That's insane.
He had a
That's
1.1 QBR.
you can't you can't run an NFL offense with that. So I do. It's I do indeed think this is the case. I think we saw for a few years when we started looking at like player props and fantasy value and all that kind of stuff. But like when Deshaun Watson would get injured for the Cleveland Browns and then the backup would have to come in, you're like, guess what? Like now I'm looking at the offense differently. Like I do think Tyrod Taylor is going to be more effective at least in the passing game when it comes to Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, the New York Jets, and whatnot. What we're really the Bills. The Bills are a very good team. But what we're downplaying here is what the Jets
They're the second best team in New York.
That's crazy. What the New York Jets just unleashed onto the National Football League. So early on or halfway through the game or whatnot, did you happen to see that Josh Allen fell like on his face? Did you see that?
I didn't see it happen, but I know that his gushing blood and
Yeah. So his nose was like gushing blood, and like they had a weird like whoever the head coach had a weird statement after the fact and was like, yeah, like it doesn't look bigger. They're like, but we are going to protect it in the future. And now, do you see he's rocking a visor?
no, but that's probably gonna look cool.
Josh Allen's now going to be rocking a visor, and I don't know if you ever played like NCAA college football or Madden, but it's the first thing I do with make a player is I put a visor on.
Did you ask me if I ever played? Do you remember your birthday?
I do remember my birthday, but that was your little brother Zach, not you, my lunch meat friend.
I taught him everything he knows.
The first thing I do on a created player is I put a visor on it, and it looks badass. And now we have Josh Allen playing with a visor. Hammer MVP bets right now because he will be. But I don't know how that would protect his nose, right?
What do you mean? If things are getting in through here,
But he fell on it.
well, now there's another thing that's covering
For
the
him to
part
hit his
that's
nose
open.
on? I'm not quite sure.
Was his nose going to grow? something got in there in that little gap. Obviously, that's the only way it could happen. And
I don't know.
now things can't. There's
I
a
don't know.
barrier there now.
I don't know why I'm arguing headgear logistics with a masked luchador. I apologize. I'm comfortably outside of my weight class here. Let's go into another little AFC East game. The New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. The New England Patriots beat the Miami Dolphins 33-27. With the vibes around Miami right now, again, red zone, it was jumping in and out of this game. I did want the Patriots to win. If they surround Drake May with a little bit of talent, he's going to be incredible. However, I thought this game would, with the vibes in Miami pre and post game, I thought this was a bigger deficit than 33-27. But Mike McDaniel's fired next week, right?
Yeah, I wanted to do like a little pool, like who's going to get fired first, Mike McDaniel or what is it, Billy Napier or whatever, the Florida head coach.
Ooh, ooh.
Who's which Florida coach is getting fired first?
Man, I have to say, it has to be Mike. It has to be Mike McDaniel in Miami. It has to be. They had a players only meeting. Do you know? Like, that's bad, man. Like, he's
Well, that's
gone.
because that's not always like a coach thing. That could be like the players obviously have some issues they need to work out because I don't know if you heard this, and I didn't hear it from like a clip from Tua's mouth. I was listening to Bomani Jones yesterday or the day before, and did you hear kind of what was going on between Tua and Tyreek?
No, I assume no.
Well, allegedly, because once again I'm getting the second hand, but I trust Bomani. Tua complained to Tyreek and Jalen Waddle basically that they're too fast.
That's tough.
They're too far down the field. He can't get them the ball. They need to slow down or whatever. So he's a quarterback who's telling his receivers openly, I can't throw that far and you're going too fast. Not good. Sometimes you like there are things that you should keep to yourself. There's sometimes you can share too much, and this is exhibit A. How about instead you say, look, we need to do like a different, different patterns or different, route combinations or something because
You can't just say,
we need to have more options or something. But you can't say I can't throw that far or you guys are too fast.
man, there's some smoke there because I remember when he first went there, everybody was super excited about it. And I do think the first game or two they had some growing pains, and then that's why Mike McDaniel had to switch up his offense to a lot of those like crosser routes, like over the middle, focus a lot on like yards after catch as opposed to just like a big bomb. And there's more smoke there because there's a play that's going around on TikTok and Twitter or whatnot to where Tyreek burned his dude. Like Tyreek burned his dude, and he had one deep safety over the top that he could have crunched, right? Like the guy, it's like Gronk did not have the angle on that lateral play from a couple years ago, and Tua just can't get the ball to him. Tua just can't get the ball to him in space. He has to come back for it, and I'm like, a lot of other quarterbacks are making that pass and it's a touchdown, and Tyreek was frustrated. So I could see that.
It's amazing sometimes how quickly people's opinions can change because one of the big stories that came out of the trade or whatever to have Tyreek go to Miami was Tyreek saying that Tua throws a better ball than Pat Mahomes.
Oh
You
yeah,
remember
he says
that?
he's the most accurate He says he's the most accurate passer in the NFL, which
And
I understand gassing up the homies, but come on.
you know whose reputation and stock has risen the most? Brian Flores.
Brian Flores redemption arc, 100%,
Because he
100%.
because he wanted Justin Herbert and ownership wanted Tua because Tua went to Alabama and won a natty. So we want him. And there's Justin Herbert who there's not a spot on the field he can't hit.
Not at all. Not like that's hindsight's 2020, man. The vibes are absolutely rancid in Miami right now. Mike McDaniel first to get fired, right?
Probably.
Speaking of vibes, We're gonna get a vibe check right here. We're gonna turn the music down low. We have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right? It's a Jaguar episode, not a Jaguar episode. Cincinnati Bengals managed to stay on to win 31-27 against the Jags. Right? However, Joe Burrow out with turf toe. So
And
Joe Burrow.
I don't understand this whole thing because back in my day, you just cut the toe off and keep playing.
Back in Dick
It's
Hammer's day.
2025. Do we still need toes?
I don't
Get one of those
think-
little metal spring things. Be back next week.
I don't think there is, again, we keep saying we're not an injury or medical podcast, right? But we have to talk about it. I do not think there's a bigger disparity between how the injury is named and how it makes it sound to the actual pain and effect of the injury than turf toe. Like, up until way more recently than I'm comfortable to admit, I thought turf toe was like you rubbed it, like you stubbed it, or there's like a abrasion on it, like something like that,
Like
right?
you're walking in the bedroom in the middle of the night and you hit the bed frame. That's turf toe.
Yeah, or like you crack it, like I don't know, something like that, right? So then, I did do a little bit of research, right? But so turf toe, it's when there's some sort of tendon, there's some sort of like bunch of tendons that attaches the ball of your foot, that big hard part, right? That connects to the big toe, and apparently when that gets ruptured or frayed or something like that, it actually will like send shooting pains that can be felt all the way up into the base of your neck. Like it isn't like your foot's hurting, like it's actually can be debilitating for like the rest of like you can feel it everywhere. I'd imagine it'd be pretty difficult to play professional football with something that aggravating, right? So Joe Burrow is going to have surgery. He's on injured reserve. They say 3 months, which it's crazy that they did not say season ending, because that's about as close as you can get.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
Like, he's not like, it's like, I understand huffing the copium like Lions fans did last year with Hutchinson, and they're like, it's 3 months, and it's like, well, you'd have to pretty much make it to the AFC Championship game with Jake Browning in order to come back and make a difference, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you had a defense, if you had an offensive line, you might be able to be 500 by that time, and maybe with like a game or two left with the shot. But we know they don't play defense, and that their line is bad, which is why Joe is in the position he's in right now.
I feel really bad because, and maybe because he's the coolest guy ever, but like he's had he's missed a lot of time. He's missed quite a bit of time, so the vibes, unfortunately, are still bad in Cincinnati, despite the win. And then the Jags vibes, Brian Thomas Jr. I love, heading into this season, I loved Brian Thomas Jr. I was the king. I led the parade on you getting fleeced, right? You giving up Brian Thomas Jr. For JSN. I was the guy, I'm like, you're ridiculous, right? Brian Thomas Jr. isn't good right now.
Well, I think he's good, but him and Trevor Lawrence clearly don't get along because, I mean, if you saw like the preseason game where Lawrence threw him a hospital pass and he got lit the fuck up.
Yep.
And if you look at a lot of those drops yesterday, because he was targeted 12 times and only had 4 receptions, a lot of them are like in traffic. He don't want no part of it. He's looking over his shoulder before the ball gets there. He's giving up on routes because so they got to figure out a scheme or a plan to make him feel safer, because he's got the yips. And it's kind of hard. It's hard to blame him when you look at some of those passes. It's like, if he catches that, he's going to get wrecked.
Turned to dust.
And there's got to be a better way.
Has to be a better way, right? Yeah, he was giving up on a lot of routes. So, and also, did you happen to see the this is more so like there's not anything to the story, right? But did you see Trevor Lawrence when Liam Cohen was yelling at him,
waving him off?
And he's like, I'm like, that's tough, man. The vibes aren't as good as we.
That's hard to tell, but yeah,
that could be heat of the moment and whatnot. Let's go. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the 49ers and the Saints. Right? A few things to talk about here.
Is there just like the least interesting game?
There's not a lot to talk about. I have two big.
Go
I have
ahead,
two,
pal. You tell me what you saw.
I think Kyle Shanahan could turn either one of us into an NFL worthy quarterback. Mac Jones happens to be the perfect system quarterback for the Kyle Shanahan offense, and is enough to get them some wins while Purdy's out with his shoulder and foot injury or toe injury, maybe even, right? And that's exactly what he did. He did enough to win them the game, did not do enough to lose them the game. However, I'm also I think Kellen Moore for the New Orleans Saints is going to get every little bit that he can out of Spencer Rattler because he has not looked as bad as I thought he was going to. And I'm trying to weigh, and I'm like, they're like seeing now the Eagles offense, which we'll get into with Kevin Patullo versus Kellen Moore, and I'm like, coaching matters. Coaching matters, and I think Kellen Moore, I always really, really liked him in Dallas as an offensive play caller, and I really liked him in Philly, and he's making Spencer Rattler make some plays, man. He is. So they're going to be fun. They're going to be fun to watch. I'm having a good time with them.
A
So
lot can be said about, like a coach that can make their quarterback feel good about themselves. And I can only, I'm just thinking out loud, he's probably telling Rattler, like, look, dude, nobody has any expectations for us. Play your game. You have a long leash. We don't want to put Shuck in quick. You know the offense. You've been here longer. You know these guys more. Well, let it rip. We've got nothing to lose. I'm a first year head coach. You're not going anywhere.
playing with
So
house
let's just
money,
play. Let's
like
just play ball. Yeah, you're playing with house money. So they're allowed. They're doing probably things that they probably wouldn't normally do because other than if it's their general manager or whatever that keeps making these trades, because they also traded for Jalen Polk and gave up like another two like late round draft picks. I don't
very strange.
understand that because I brought that up last week because Jalen Polk and Valley or Vel or whatever, they're not your difference makers. Okay,
No, they're not getting you over any sort of hump.
there's
So
no reason to give up those draft picks. But so they might be interesting to watch just because they're gonna let it. They're playing with nothing to lose, and that always makes people dangerous.
right. Yeah, like they're more fun to watch than I was thinking. So great
But there was a
analysis there.
story too that I heard that Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones, but they
Yes,
went crazy, lost their mind, and like gave up shit to get Trey Lance.
that's always been
I'm not
around
sure.
there.
I'm not sure whose idea that was. If that was like you know John Lynch or who was ever
Yeah, whoever.
making those decisions. But from what I heard, Shanahan always liked Mac Jones because he's that system guy that if you give him enough time, he's going to hit the spot that he needs to hit.
Love it, man. We're so blessed with football. We're so blessed with football, right? We're gonna move on to another game I don't have too much to talk about. For one way or one reason or another, the Cleveland Browns against the Baltimore Ravens. It is what we thought it was, right? Ravens win 41-17. Browns have no answer at quarterback. Their defense is like okay, but their offense is What do we even say about the Browns?
I'm excited to see Quinshawn playing because I have him on my team, and he got I think like 13 touches. He got 10 carries and a couple receptions.
Really, did
So
he?
that was encouraging for me. But if you're a Browns fan, you're kind of wondering what the fuck's going on. You might as well put one of the young guys in. You're not a playoff team, so you probably need to get rid of one of these guys. I don't know if they're going to keep this going on with Gabriel and Shador for like their entire rookie contracts. Like that's just going to create bad feelings and bad blood everywhere. So figure it out. Hey, Shador, you're starting next week. Gabriel, you're the week after, and we're going to see who fucking plays the
Just do it,
best.
right? You have to. You
And
have
I
to just
like Joe
figure out.
Flacco and stuff, but there's just no point in doing this.
Yeah, yeah, and I think if they drop one or two more, they're probably gonna start exploring that. Did you happen to see the story that either Schefter or Rappaport tweeted and sent out? But I think it was Rapp. But the Ravens were going to draft Shador Sanders. Did you see this? This is
Something
real.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. The Ravens were going to call in and draft Shador Sanders, and Shador said, "I don't want to go to the Ravens." He's like, "Because I'll be sitting behind Lamar, and I'll never be a starter." Do you have any sort of input on that? I mean, I could see it. I could see it because yes, you're never going to win the starting job from Lamar, and I guess he thinks that he could in Cleveland. I guess it's more feasible than winning it from Lamar, but
I understand and appreciate that because you know at the same if you're anybody if you're one of you know you or me that's your dream and like just to get to the NFL would be exciting but that is just competitive spirit that he thinks that if because you're not going to beat out a two-time MVP. It should be three-time MVP. He got robbed last year. Uh, but yeah, so I completely understand.
yeah. So we don't fault him for that. We like it.
No, not at
Yeah,
all.
we need to see some rookie quarterbacks out there. They're fun, right? Let's go into the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. You want to go into this? You want to talk about this game?
I want to talk about certain. So
I got two things I'll talk about, but I'll let you have the floor.
Caleb Williams, I think I've got him. I've got him figured out. And here's what it is.
I'm dying to hear.
He was always a natural top level athlete, and it was always enough to get him by. In high school, he I think like his first like full year starting, he won a state title, and then
Mm-hmm.
obviously goes to Oklahoma, wins a Heisman, or did he win the Heisman at Oklahoma or USC? Either way, but when you see him play against better competition, he shrinks significantly. And the NFL is all good competition. If an NFL team goes, you know, 0-17, that team is still gonna whoop everyone's ass at the college level. Don't let
Mm-hmm.
anybody fool you that Georgia or Alabama or whatever Ohio
It will
State
never happen.
are gonna beat the Carolina Panthers. They're not. But what I think it is he is completely disinterested. I don't I think that he thought it's always been easy for me and at the next level it'll be the same. So I don't need to watch film. I once I get out there it's just gonna work because it always has. So I don't think he's doing any at home studying, film review, except for when he's at the facilities, obviously, because Ben Johnson obviously is going to pay attention to that and have, you know, study sessions with him. But I think he's like, I'm getting paid a lot of money. I got a lot of money in college, and my heart's really not in this, but I can't quit because they're going to want their signing bonuses and stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
I think he doesn't love football, doesn't want to be there, and is just waiting for a chance to get out. Like, I don't know if he's going to be like a like if he loses the job eventually, he's not going to be like a journeyman backup. I don't think. I think he's going to like, hey, you know, it's fun. I suck. I guess I'll just go home now because he got paid a ton of money and doesn't need to do anything. That's what I think. That's after a year and two games, after 19 games or whatever. I don't think he gives a fuck.
Wow, that's some strong words, right? I don't think you're completely off base. I was very vocal about Caleb Williams coming in. And again, it's week two. It's a year in week two, I suppose, and we're not going to overreact just yet. But Caleb Williams has always had like that demeanor. Like it's always been
But
that
yeah,
way
because
for.
I'm sorry, but yeah, that was the thing too. Is you know they're down like three scores and he's smiling on the sideline, and I had the flashback to you know Derek Anderson as a Cardinal, and you know they were down like a similar score, and he's asked in the post game press conference, you know we saw you know laughing down there, and there's the famous like presser freak guy goes, this is my life, I take this shit seriously, I study every day, and it became kind of a joke, but yeah he was laughing. I was like, what's this bitch? I literally said, what's this bitch laughing about? And Ashley was like, I've never heard you say like anything bad about him. I'm like, he's down three scores and he's fucking laughing. He's having a ball. Like he don't care that he's losing.
It's crazy.
There's no competitive spirit there. He's there to get a check. Sorry, go ahead.
No, 100%. And if we go into his backstory, and we don't want to belabor the whole Caleb Williams thing, because we're going to have a lifetime to talk about him until he ends up, pushing paper like you predict.
Well, I
But
think he's gonna get into like fashion or something.
his dad, like he's known for like his dad always got him like the best coaching. They sent him to the best high school in the state. They bought him an apartment. Like they rented out an apartment for him when he was a junior and senior in high school, so he didn't have to drive too far to this super nice like football school. And I mean, like I don't want to say like he's obviously a talented athlete, especially at those levels. And I don't want to say everything's been handed to him on a silver platter, but he has just always been the best. He just always has been the best, and it's very, very hard when you go from big fish to little fish, right? We talk about it all the time. Like every single player on an NFL practice squad even is the greatest player their hometown's ever heard about, and there's like a park named after him, and there's like a bronze statue downtown, right? It's super, super hard to be able to adjust to that mentally, you know. I don't think you're too far off of there, right? I don't think
And
you're
he
too
also
far
played
off.
it in the Big 12 and Pac whatever they are, which I've constantly harped on as being conferences that never play defense. So Jalen Hurts and Baker Mayfield, blah blah blah, they all put up crazy numbers because every game's 56-48.
I hear you, man. I hear you. The two takeaways I have from this: one is Isaac Tesla is the new George Pickens, and every single time he gets a catch, it's like highlight reel. I think he has two catches, and every single one is a crazy one-hander that he goes up on a ladder to get. He's
That's
electric to
probably
watch.
a mean comparison because Pickens is also like a head case.
Yes, Pickens is a head case, but he's Steelers product. That's fine, right? I'm sure Tesla's gonna be a good guy, right? But this was angry coaching. This was angry coaching from Dan Campbell on the Lions. And I think this was personal, and I don't want to look too far into it, but they definitely ran up the score on them, right? They definitely ran up the score, and the most points that the Lions ever scored with Ben Johnson as their offensive coordinator was 52. And I honestly believe that they wanted to be like, hey, there was a lot of riffraff from the first week saying, oh, are
Yeah,
they
who are
still
those
off?
idiots that said that their offense would be different?
And it's still different, but this was angry coaching at the highest level, and Goff aired it out, and they looked like the vintage Lions. Um, it was a good game. They angry coached their way up. It
Well,
was
you
a good
saw
game.
that TD celebration they did, right? With that
Yeah,
fake little like stumble.
yeah. So they did the Ben Johnson design play where Goff stumbled, and then threw it off. So that was really fun. And also, everybody I was watching the game was freaked out because Amon Ra. I didn't even know, like, this seems like bad juju to do it, but do you see Amon Ra faked an injury for his celebration?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he pulled the hammy and then fell down and then sprung back up. But everybody else watching it was like, you can't do that. That's bad juju, isn't it?
Well, I don't know what the purpose was. Is there a backstory to that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I just think he was fucking with us.
Oh, all
Bad
right.
juju. You got anything else to say on those two teams or what?
Yeah, obviously, I've been talking a lot of shit about the Lions, about how they're not going to be able to do what they've been doing. I did say last week when they got cooked by the Packers, I'm not going to freak out yet. It's one game. Packers defense and Micah, there's a lot of hype there. There is some adjusting to do, but once again, beating up on the Bears might be one of the easier things to do in the NFL. But the score was pretty bad. But at the same time, when you have a disinterested quarterback that doesn't give a shit, that makes things rough. So Lions looked fucking reminiscent of how they've been the last couple years when you score 52 points and didn't seem to struggle doing it. So we'll see because I like I said in the beginning of the show, I don't want to keep saying every week, it's week 2, it's week 3. We're starting to get a better picture of who's who and what's happening. Uh, I'm not sure who they have next. Is it the Vikings or no? The Vikings are playing.
No, the
Uh,
Lions have the Ravens, my friend, on Monday Night Football.
oh yeah, money. Okay, so that will be
That's
that's the litmus test for
that's
me in
yes.
in
I
Baltimore. So if they can do that to them, then I will eat crow
I love it.
right
I
here on
love
the
it.
show. I will
Spe-
say I was wrong about Mr. Dan Campbell, and I'm ready to bite some kneecaps too, if that
you
happens.
you heard it here
We'll
first.
see.
Speaking of eating crow. And another unexpected greatest game of all time, right? Um, we have the Denver Broncos and the Indiana Jones Colts. Colts edged out the Broncos 29-28. Um, it's their first 2-0 start, I think, since like 2008 or something like that. Like seriously, something insane.
That can't be true.
It's a long time.
Because Andrew Luck played into like the mid teens,
Was he
didn't
always
he?
good out of the gate though? Maybe
Yeah, they went to the playoffs
2015.
his first year.
I feel like whenever I throw out a quote, it's 2015. So I
They,
feel like I can go to. It's been a
dude,
long time. People
time
were
is so
excited.
weird. Time is so
Time
weird.
is, yeah. The more time
But
you've like, it expands
yeah,
faster.
Luck took him from first pick in the draft to playoffs next year,
I miss Andrew Luck.
which is LeBron James, the
He
goat.
is. So the new goat is Daniel Jones. This Colts Broncos game, I like. It was absolutely electric. It was electric. I was watching it. The end series of events was really, really entertaining. Whether the Colts went to kick the game-winning field goal and then they missed it, but then they called a penalty because they said that somebody on the Broncos used leverage, which is that he pushed off of the player in order to lift himself higher in order to attempt to block the kick, right? You don't see that called too often. You're not allowed to push off another player, vault yourself up. It seemed a little, I don't want to say soft, it seemed a little convenient. He did indeed do it, but it's like, I don't know if that's one of those things that, like, if it gets called, like, maybe you go back and the guy was doing it the entire game and the coach was like, hey, like, watch this, because, like, I never see that called, right? And I don't know, like, it just seems strange. But then they call the penalty, they get 5 yards, and then he happens to kick it and happens to drill it to win the game. Super exciting game. I have some friends that went to the game. They're like, the atmosphere was absolutely electric. Really fun game, and also, I did happen to pick the Colts over the Broncos, and I was waffling. Remember, I was waffling.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
bring that up.
I'm the biggest Colts fan you can find right now, and also Jonathan Taylor looks like he did a couple years ago. He looks really good. He looks really good. What's your thoughts?
It's amazing how healthy and exuberant that's a good word.
Exuberance a good one.
How much better they look when they're playing on a team that's winning compared to when they're losing.
Mm-hmm.
Winning can do a lot of miraculous miracles. All of a sudden, people's backs don't hurt as much, and things are always going up.
Just things are clicking.
Nobody expected it. If you said you did, you're a liar.
I did.
Um, I have always been a Daniel Jones guy, but even this is even shocking me because it's the Colts and we didn't expect it, and they kind of made the AR-15 and Daniel Jones QB competition seem like it was kind of like close
Like a
until it wasn't.
competition.
Yeah, until it wasn't, and you're thinking, if he's competing with him and it's not obvious, then Danny Jones probably don't look that good, but he looks like he did. Man, I don't know. I was gonna bring up old memories of the playoff game we had against Minnesota where he was lights out. He had like the only quarterback in NFL history that had 300 plus rushing and 75 or 300 plus passing and 75 rushing and like two pass and one rush TD with like the efficiency. I thought about it because you had mentioned last episode that the year that the Eagles had started like 7-1, you knew it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't sustainable.
Yep.
The year we went to the playoffs, it was the ugliest fucking season, ugliest wins ever because he's throwing to Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James
Yeah.
and a bunch of
Richie
nobodies,
James.
and he threw 15 touchdown passes that season. And they were, I was just happy to be in the playoffs, honestly, because it had been such a rough stretch of time.
Mm-hmm.
And they fucking smoked Minnesota. I was like, what? Where the fuck did this come from? But that's the Daniel Jones. And here's the other thing about Daniel Jones and Eli, because I don't want to get too off, because I'll sit here all day talk about Eli. But when you're watching Giants games, because a lot of people that hate on Daniel Jones or hated on Eli, they weren't watching Giants games. They were just see the final score and it be 30-13, and that's all they knew. So the Giants suck and Eli sucks. But I would watch Daniel Jones on some of those teams, and he's got wide receivers and shit lining up in the wrong spots, and he's got to like tell everyone, you're actually on this side, dumbass. And that's got to be rough when you're out there. You have no line, you have no time, but you got to make sure that everyone else can just remember where to fucking be. And when you have, I don't know, I don't want to go crazy, but I like Daniel Jones, and I thought that he was always capable of what he's doing. And I'm pissed off at New York media and the New York fans that made it what it was, because they
Give him
willed it into fruition, because it was already kind of, people weren't happy when he was drafted at 6 or whatever it was, because a lot of people had never heard of him. I'll be honest with you, um, I had heard the name, but I wasn't watching Duke games, so I'm not gonna lie and say, "Oh, dude, I saw this at Duke." No, I didn't. But so that pick kind of shocked people, but I'm happy for him.
I think
I'm pissed.
everybody is.
I'm pissed off. Yeah, because he got fucking shit on, and it wasn't his fault. We're finding out it's not. It wasn't his fucking fault. Um, but I'm pissed off about my Broncos pick, and I picked them also in our Fab Five. So, but it was also I kind of was gonna lose either way because it was a 2.5 spread. So whether they made it or not, I still wasn't gonna win. But
Right, right.
anyways, Bo Nix, what the
Anyway,
fuck's going on? Hey, Sean Payton, can you quit trying to be the smartest guy in the room and play RJ Harvey a little more?
thinking himself, man. They've been disappointing. They've unfortunately been disappointing, but everybody loves Daniel Jones. Give him his flowers. Panthers Cardinals. I don't have too much to say about this. The one takeaway that I have from it is Xavier Legette and Brian Thomas Jr. Have the same issue right now. Xavier Legette has not looked good. We do love him. We made a bit about him because we love his voice and how he talks. I'm sure
I
nicest
like
guy in the
string
world.
beans and green peas.
Yeah, I got some raccoon, right? Like that. He was having raccoon for lunch, right? He again, since PFF started measuring this metric, but he was targeted 8 times and he averaged like negative point 2 or negative point 3 yards per reception. The lowest ever since they started tracking it for a player targeted 8+ times, which could be cherry picked, whatever. But he's been giving up on routes. He's not been looking good. He's not been helping out Bryce Young at all. Now Tetero McMillan is as advertised, but offense still has to get humming. Bryce is still working through stuff. Chuba Hubbard, he's still the most boring player that's going to get you a touchdown every week. Same with James Conner, right? Cardinals edged out the Panthers 27-22, and I have nothing else to say about it. What about you, Luchador?
Yeah, watching those the highlights of Leggett, because a lot of those were screen passes and stuff, and I feel like sometimes with young guys, and coming in the league that have always been like you said earlier, the best guy at their high school, and he was a first round draft pick, and they're so used to like scoring and having these hitting home runs every time they catch the ball, they're going to the house. And I think they got to learn sometimes that you need to take what the defense gives you and quit trying to make
Yep.
chicken salad out of chicken shit, or however that fucking phrase goes.
Yeah, 100%.
Just move forward, and those things are going to happen. Though you're going to break free one of those times. I used to say the same thing about Saquon Barkley, because you'd watch him behind the Giants line, and he'd have to be doing the Barry Sanders shit where he's running backwards and spinning
Mm-hmm.
around, and that's why he kept getting hurt. He was trying to do too much. He felt like he had to, because nothing else is working. And so I think Leggett has a lot. He feels like he needs to make things happen, and
Mm-hmm.
he needs to just positive yards.
Just run downhill, bro. Just run
But I
downhill
just
and you'll get
I
it.
didn't care about this game at all. I don't think besides those Leggett highlights, I didn't watch a second of it or whatever.
No, it's the banana bowl. It's the banana bowl. We got nothing else. It's probably gonna be our least talked about game this week. So let's head on into the 4 p.m. slate, right? Actually, it was the Panthers? That's how forgettable it was. The Panthers Cardinals, I think, it was a 4 p.m. game, but we're already over it, right? Actually, now I guarantee it was. Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl rematch. And you say it broke the all-time regular season record, 33.8 million people, like 10% of the United States tuned in to watch probably the two most boring offenses in the NFL play a football game. This game we won. The win feels good. The Eagles did not win because they are that much better right now. They won the turnover battle. They won that turnover battle with Travis Kelce getting hit in the hands, and then turning it over to our rookie Makuba, who looks electric. Right, the Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts had less than 100 passing yards.
I think
Like,
he netted like 101 or something.
yeah, like not a lot, right? The passing game just has not been a thing. And I like 40% of that came on one big throw to Devontae Smith, right? To set up a go ahead. So, like, Kevin Patullo, again, I'm seeing shades of 2023 that our offense is not as good as it should be. We're too talented to not be targeting A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on all that kind of good stuff. It is concerning. There was a fun thing that, did you see at the end of the game, Chris Jones was chirping at Hurts? So, yeah, Chris Jones was chirping at Jalen Hurts. He's like, man, you barely even had 100 yards. And Hurts was like, shut your ass up. He said, we got the win, right? Which has always kind of been Hurts' thing. He's like, wins matter more than stats. But also speaking about stats, the Chiefs' offense needs to get something going. I understand they lost their two wideouts, but you can only get by so much on Mahomes' magic. And that's exactly what their entire offense is just have Mahomes run around for dear life and make something happen. Do you know he leads their team in rushing by a considerable amount?
Yeah, I brought that up last week. I was like, it's not going to be good when Mahomes is leading the team in rushing. It's not, you can't do that.
Yeah, and it's not even particularly close right now. So I don't know if we're panic bells for Kansas City right now with Mahomes and Reed. They're always going to be contenders. They're always going to have wins up their sleeve. But how did you feel about this ultimately pretty boring game?
Well, we're probably having a different discussion if the Travis Kelsey kind of flipped the ball into the air and it's a interception instead of potentially a touchdown.
Yep.
Because at that point, I think the Chiefs take the lead. Um, we got to keep in mind, I think people where we want to sensationalize everything. These were the two teams in the Super Bowl last year. These are two really good teams, two really good defenses. So we kind of expect the offenses to kind of take a back seat, especially in that situation. They know the difference maker is probably going to be a turnover, which it probably was,
Mm-hmm.
to not take any unnecessary risks. So I think by design it was meant to be like a boring who can make the first mistake or capitalize on the first mistake. Being that I'm a chess player and blah blah blah, I watch a lot of or I watch a lot of like the top level chess players and super GMs or whatever, and it's the most boring shit ever because they're doing like 20 lines of theory, just computer moves, and they don't break off that script until one guy makes a like a second or third
Mm-hmm.
computer move instead of the top move. And it always just comes down to who makes the first blunder, and that's what that was I think the Chiefs probably win that game if Kelsey doesn't flip the ball into the air. The other blunder that happened was I can't remember the last time I've seen Pat Mahomes throw a pass that was it was clearly his fault that that Thornton overthrow, because that was a
Yeah.
touchdown too. I can't
Yep.
remember what the result of that drive was, but I can't remember. And if there is, you can probably only count him on one hand the amount of times in his what 7 8 year career that he's missed somebody like that, because
Yeah.
he never does that. But that's also a result of working with different receivers. You know what I mean? Overall, pretty boring game, but boring can be good because once again, these are two of the best teams in the NFL. I don't care if the Chiefs are 0-2; they're going to be fine. And it came down to Travis or Taylor Swift's fiance making a mistake.
Great analysis. See, we don't overreact in this household. We don't overreact at all. So speaking of what we're not going to overreact, Falcons versus the very worst quarterback in the National Football League.
Well, real quick too about the Chiefs. They got the Ravens after this week, and so that's going to be another one of those. Like, let's see how they look against the Ravens, because if the Ravens just beat their ass,
Who do the
then
Chiefs have
that's what
next week?
I'm not sure who they have coming up, but I know that a week from this week is Ravens.
Do you know what Sunday Night Football is?
Chiefs Giants, yeah, I did know, but I was
What
thinking,
if there's a greater than 0% chance the Chiefs start 0-4?
Well, we'll see.
Okay,
This will help.
okay,
This will help me
okay.
be able. This will help me be able to figure out what I think about my Giants, even though they're back and they're getting ready to fucking roll people.
That's gonna be electric. Atlanta
I, I'm
Falcons.
just, I'm unwilling to fucking ever think negatively about a Andy Reid coach team and
No,
a
we can't.
Patrick Mahomes
That
quarterbacked
offense.
team. You know, so
Yeah, so don't go hanging the banner just yet. Falcons Vikings. Falcons beat up the Vikings 22-6. I don't even know really if they beat them up that much or if just the Vikings have an almost non-existent offense. JJ McCarthy did not look good. JJ McCarthy now he's 8 quarters in, and he's only really had one good quarter when he went Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan at the end of last week, right? He it did not look good, and now he has a knee sprain. I think he has a knee or ankle sprain.
a
That's
high ankle sprain, I think.
yeah, that has him out 2 to 4 weeks. So again, it's like if it's really really difficult. It's really really difficult to go from Dick Hammer's grandson last year leading you to 14 wins, in an offense that should we like you got Hawkinson, right? Like you got Justin Jefferson, like you're potent, your line's okay, right? Um,
I mean, they looked good
and
with Kirk Cousins before that too. So like, this is an offense that
exactly.
always does well.
So we're a little alarm bells in Minnesota right now. The Falcons look fine. Michael Penix is still doing Michael Penix things. Kyle Pitts is again looking spry. We're not hanging the banner with Kyle Pitts yet, but Falcons did what they had to do and came over the win.
Very kind of uneventful game. I got pissed off again
Yeah,
because this will be the second week in a row where I'm going to be talking about the one drive they had that they got down to like the 3 yard line, first and goal. They tried doing a pass and McCarthy gets sacked, I think. And I'm just not sure why teams don't like just try to run it the first time.
dude.
Y- Because you're first and 3. Jordan Mason is like 230 pounds. Just fucking run them
Just send him
forward.
up the gut, dude.
What happened to the goal line and a little halfback toss? I just don't get it.
I don't
So
know.
once they just botched that, and the Vikings defense held up because the Falcons got 5 field goals, and so it was kind of a really boring Sunday night game where a whole lot of nothing happened.
I know.
But
Again,
but
on
we
event.
we're some of the few Michigan fans that have been honest about what we think about JJ McCarthy. What's happening is kind of what I expected. I was blown away that the Vikings use a high, like what
Yep.
was it,
So was I.
fifth or sixth or
It
something?
was high. It was high. Maybe eighth.
Because Penix went at 8 or 9 and he went after McCarthy,
You're right.
and so I was like, like second look or what, they took JJ McCarthy. Like I could understand taking him like as like a middle round pick. Let's see what he can do and you know, mold him into a quarterback. But what did you see at Michigan that made you think that this guy is going to be your guy?
I never saw anything. I was so low on JJ coming out. I was so low on JJ coming out. And like now, okay, like if we want to overreact, people are like, well, this is how Harbaugh runs his offense. He's in the trenches. He's slow. He plays smash mouth, run the ball, football. And now Justin Herbert is just throwing the ball 100 times a fucking game. So I won't stand for that. Harbaugh's a good coach, and he utilizes exactly what he needs to do in order to win. And JJ wasn't like they didn't have to rely on him to win the Natty, and the Vikings are figuring.
When the Wolverines were rolling people, I was in our group chat saying, like JJ McCarthy still worries me, even though he'd have like 22 touchdowns to 1 interception, whatever, because once again he's throwing maybe 15 times a game at
Right,
most.
most.
And I was like, at some point we're gonna get into a shootout, and I want to know that he can keep up. And we never really had to until the national championship game, but there was still a lot of long runs in there. But I was concerned about JJ as the Michigan quarterback that went undefeated and won a natty. So that tells you all you need to know.
That tells you all we need to know. So Zach, I'm gonna we might have two more things worth, but I know we might be running short on time. Do you want to touch on the two Monday night games, or do we want to kick that for our pick show?
We have all the time if you want. Yeah, I mean, we let's finish it up.
Let's finish it up. Okay, I want to be respectful of you. I know you have some sort of. Hey, so what's the squared circle? So the subreddit for wrestling is squared circle, and I've always wondered what that meant.
I don't know. That's just what they call the ring.
That's just what they call the ring. We're gonna have to look at. We're gonna do some research on that because maybe do we become a wrestling podcast?
We should.
We should not at all. At all. We have Buccaneers Texans. So we had two Monday night games. First of all, Roger Goodell, you're on fucking notice. Because if you ever schedule another Monday night football game for 10 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to lose my gourd. I fell asleep and I woke
That one was
up
at
to.
7.
I know it was, but there was two Monday night games.
Well,
There was the
if
7th.
you start with Buccaneers Texans and then go.
I'm just plugging it into the block, and I'm just yelling at it because yes, the Buccaneers Texans was at 7 p.m. and usually Monday Night Football is 8:20. However, then they usually do if it's like the doubleheader, it's usually 7 p.m. and then 8:20 for the other one. They didn't do that. They decided to kick it off like almost 2 hours later. Killing me, man. I'm jealous of the West Coasters, but the first game we had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Houston Texans. The Buccaneers won 20-19. The Texans should have won this game 10 times over if they did not have such an absolute inept, toothless offense right now. They had a drive to where I think it was a turnover, and they either got a fumble or interception, and they were like fucking. Were they in the 5-yard line at one point, and they got to run 4 plays, and they did not get a touchdown? Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. They have no running game whatsoever. Nick Chubb, besides one breakout run at the end of the night, right, looked completely incompetent. Nick Chubb just kept running into people, and I don't know if he was dancing behind the line or whatnot. Like it kind of had the Xavier Legette thing, just run, dude, for 2 to 3 yards and get something, right? The Texans' offense looks awful. Their defense is good. The Texans' offense looks awful. The Buccaneers offense is fun. Baker Mayfield is that fucking dude. We're going to go over. Egbuka is a stud. Mike Evans is a stud. Once Chris Godwin comes back, they're going to be electric. Bucky Irving is him. I love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. And Baker Mayfield did a scramble. This is why Baker Mayfield's that dude, and you have to give him his flowers. Baker Mayfield did a scramble, and he falls hard on his knee, and he acts, I'm like, oh, this is it, season over, right? He's gripping his knee, and then C.J. Gardner-Johnson, perennial generational shit talker, comes over and starts chirping, and Baker Mayfield just springs right back up. He healed
Flopper.
Instantly. He's not a flopper. I'm sure his knee hurt, a stinger or something like that. However, then he sprung up to talk shit. That's that dude. How do you feel?
Baker's growing on me because he did the shit against the Falcons last week where he threw the perfect ball to Egbuka to win the game. And I want the Texans fans to listen to me because you guys still keep pushing this narrative that you guys have a top defense. You guys were getting some pressure on Baker, and there's some crucial sacks, but they were without three of their tackles.
Yeah.
Okay, so
because Wirfs is out for the year, the another guy got banged up.
And then so I think your great defensive line was able to get a couple sacks and cause some errant throws, but when it mattered most, Baker for the second week in a row has gone down and clutch big big time players make big time plays. He's playing out of his fucking mind. This is some crow that I'll just eat now because 2 weeks in, I'm already completely flipped on what I think about Baker. He's made me a believer. I think he actually likes Popeye's chicken. And I'm regretting my Falcons pick right about now because if he can do that in that situation on the road, then
Against a
he is
decent
just
defense.
kind of the fucking man. And Texans fans, I doubt any of you are going to watch this because you guys all seem to tuck tail and leave after you guys were all in the comments section saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm stupid. I don't know ball. This is why this happened. I, I, I hate being right. I hate to say I told you so, but the New England Patriots, the Jets, and the Saints, who were not playoff teams last year and are in rougher positions than you are roster wise, they took offensive tackles in the first round. You know why they did that? You know why they did that, Brandon?
Why'd they do that?
I can tell you why. because Drake May's in New England, Tyler Shuck and Rattler and New Orleans, and Justin Fields is still fairly relatively young, but they knew that protecting him was important and running the ball was going to be important, which is why they all three drafted tackles in the first like 12 picks. And the Texans had 9 picks in the draft. They didn't have a first rounder. I'll give you credit. I'll give you whatever, but you still could have packaged a deal together because they traded out of the first round to the Giants to help us get our franchise. But you guys could have kept that and got a better tackle, or at least used 2 or 3 of those fucking picks. Even if you don't love the guy, you gotta you can't go into the season with a worse line than you had, because if you have those receivers, what good does it do when you can't get him the ball? And I don't think CJ Stroud's that guy. I saw Cam Ward make a couple plays. I don't think CJ Stroud can. So I think the Texans may have fucked around and found themselves probably at the bottom of the division next year. And there was like 1 or 2 guys that did respond back to after I said, "Hey, where'd you go? Remember how I didn't know anything?" And I said that their offense. There was like 2 guys came back. Good on you guys. But there was like 8 other of you that
Tuck tail.
missing poster, milk carton. Where you at?
Texans
I don't know.
fans, you're on notice. You do know. You know exactly. You're give your flowers. You called it, right? And now let's go into the Chargers and the Raiders. Talk about a carriage turning back into a pumpkin for our friend Geno Smith. He was 0 for like 15 on yards, like 20 plus yards downfield, 3 interceptions. One was a great punt. I don't know if you saw the arm punt, but he threw an interception. He threw it deep, and it pinned him in like the 4 yard line. Like we take that. We take that, right? He did not do well. The Raiders looked again anemic. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to panic. It's a rookie, and this is what I was keying up for when you're bitching about Caleb Johnson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ashton Genty, okay, of course, run downhill, good running back. Pass protection's a concern. There's a few clips that we can put up about where he completely gives up in pass protection. And there's literal defenders chasing down Geno Smith, and Ashton just, it's like, in Madden when just the players like, hey, my coding for this play's done, and they just kind of stand around and watch the ball. Ashton Genty was doing that. That's concerning, not helping out the quarterback whatsoever. Brock Bowers is banged up. I know he's been kind of on a snap count and has not been playing 100%. And then the Chargers, the Los Angeles Quentin Johnstons are so fucking back. I can't believe Quentin Johnson learned how to catch the ball. Are the Chargers winning the Super Bowl or what?
They might also have the sexiest uniforms ever too.
They might have the
I love looking
sexiest.
at those things.
Those are fucking good. Thank you for bringing so good.
They've always been amazing, but they looked especially sexy last night.
Are the Chargers the sexiest team in football right now?
Probably.
I think so, right?
They're just they're struggling to run the ball, but they'll
They
get
are.
that figured out.
But running the ball isn't sexy. I want to see Herbert just
I
fucking
love
airing
running
it
the
out.
ball.
I know, me too, bro, but it's not sexy.
But here's the thing. The Raiders are they're a team on the rise. They've made a lot of good decisions. I'm not going to say that they haven't,
Yeah, they
but
have.
drafting a running back 6th overall is something that you would expect a team that is,
It's a luxury
that,
pick.
that cherry on top to put them over the edge. If you're not already there, that's just a terrible pick, because I mean that's what Saquon was for the Eagles. They already had a great team, but he's the guy that the closer. You know what I mean? But the 2 takeaways I had from this game were pre-game they said that it was Pete Carroll's birthday. He actually turned 74, and he looks, sounds, and acts 30 years younger than Bill Belichick.
He does. Yeah, insane.
So that's pretty interesting to me. If I
I
was
love Pete Carroll.
Jordan Hudson, I'd probably try to get with him instead.
A direct upgrade.
But then also I was joking about, like halftime coaching interview or
Oh,
halftime
dude.
interviews. They're so dumb. Like Jim Harbaugh did not want to be there, and I don't know why they're doing this because they're never going to give you anything insightful. It's always just like, yeah, we're playing pretty well. We got to execute on those plays a little bit better, and if we clean up a couple things in the second half, we're going to win this game. It's
Every
always.
fucking time.
So my idea was they should find a fan from each team and talk to them instead. How about that? Since the NFL is fucking all the fans raw with no lube, with all these different like streaming, like you got to have this, and it's like $500 to be able to watch everything that you want to watch. How about give a couple of the fans a little bit of airtime? Let's hear what they got to say about whether I mean, obviously you want to have the guy, uh, on the booth or in the truck that's got his finger on the delay button if somebody's going to swear, because fans do tend to be a little excited, but that would be a lot more interesting to watch than coaches who aren't going to tell you anything because they don't want to be there. Lisa Song or Salters don't want to be there. Aaron Andrews don't want to be there. Nobody wants to be there, so why are we doing it?
That's so fucking. It's exhausting. When you were texting that, I'm like, it's so. We got to get the few more things got to go our way. And we got to get
We're still in this
our best
game. We just
player.
gotta clean
We
a
got
few
to get our
things
best
up.
players involved every single fucking time. It's so canned. I love to get the drunkest fans that you can find in the first 10 rows and just fucking put them on the mic. I want to, yes, 100%. We got to fucking drop. We got to take Geno Smith out at the knees, bro. Like, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear some celebrity deathmatch ass shit. So, well, that is week 2 recap, Zach. We're going to end it here with 90 minutes talking about God-given football. I absolutely love that. Do you have anything? Not Zach, Captain Pastrami. Did you?
Oh yeah, I'll give you
Did you go?
my mustard locks tomorrow.
The mustard locks tomorrow. Is it? Have you? Captain Pastrami, is this related to like Cat's Deli? Is there lore here? They're just good pastrami. You wish?
I mean,
Why?
yes, as a New Yorker, that's my favorite sandwich.
Have you had it?
I haven't had theirs.
What? It's absolutely
I mean,
insane.
yes, I have. I'm a diamond member. I will tell you a story though about this weekend. I went out
before.
to,
Yes.
went out to a restaurant, and everything's coming to an end. We're full, and cleaning things up a little bit. And the waiter comes by and is like, check box for your leftovers. And I was like, dude, it's not that serious. You can just have them. I'm not gonna fight you for them.
Brandon and my new friend Captain Pastrami signing off. Till next time.